How is it going? I hope you're doing just as good as I'm doing today, because I'm doing pretty goddamn spectacular. I will not lie to you. Second day on the new program. I am loving how it feels. It has been a while since I have been humbled by 65% of my maxes. Like, Jesus Christ. Like, a lot of people, especially including myself, working with such a hard program like I was before. Well, and again, not hard in the sense of like really good program where I'm just putting in a bunch of effort. I was just going way too heavy too often, and I got to the point where I was just like, 65%, not even worth doing. And then, today I do my back squats after my clean and jerks, and I'm like, I'm going to just knock it out of the park. Now I know the squats are fast. I'll tell you that. It has been a while since it has been difficult to lift, not because of the weight, but because of the fatigue from all of the reps and sets I was doing. I felt like a bodybuilder today. I was just going ham. But what was fun about it was that I got to at least test out my form and my core. I will say squatting in front of a mirror fucking sucks, and it made it a little difficult to find my footing on a couple of the sets, so whatever. But I was really trying to emphasize the speed of my squats, if you will, trying to get a little bit of that Clarence Kennedy type squat going, just going really fast, at least faster than what I'm used to. I know that man squats at fucking light speed, so not trying to compare or anything. But regardless, felt fucking wonderful. I love feeling the weight over my head when I get to slam my feet on the wood. That is definitely something that I wish the other gym I go to in Orlando had. But regardless, I'm getting ahead of myself. Physically, man, I will give it a solid 8.45. That sounds pretty good. Again, I felt great. Everything felt really, really good. But, second day of the new program, and it's the most volume I've done in months, it's going to be a little bit fucking tiring. I got to accept that this is just the conditioning I got to build up in myself now. It's going to take a little bit more than one or two workouts to get my body used to it, especially my core. Got to get that core confidence way up. But it felt really good. I'm proud of the form. I got to really look back on some of the reps where I would rush it and not have as good a form as I wanted, and then on the next set take a little bit more time, not rush it too much, even though my body was like, oh, just keep going, there's too much volume. A lot of times when there's too much volume, your body will just be like, oh, just throw it, without letting you think about it. But mentally, shit, I give it a 9. Hold on, let me think. This one's a little difficult. I'll say 9.25. First thing that came in my head. I don't like thinking too much about it, because then it'll be a little bit more biased than it should be. But again, the new program is really fun. I like what's happening. I like how I feel, especially, on the other program when I was essentially just rep maxing every single fucking day. I got to the point where I just felt like I was going to get injured every single workout, and I had to tone down the weight or just feel like shit while I was lifting. And this, like, every single day I've been able to put in, like, not maximum intensity when it comes to the weight I'm lifting, but maximum intensity when it comes to, like, how fast and how explosive I'm being. That's the whole point of Olympic lifting, and this is how I want my power lifts to be as well, because I like the way of Olympic lifting better, where it's more focused on explosion and form. Is you're supposed to emphasize that rocketing power off of your body. You want to be able to throw that shit as fast and powerful with as perfect form as possible, not throwing it as fast as you can for the sense of just like, oh, this is light, I'm just going to whip it as hard as I can. I like whipping it with just as much as I need, but if the form is there, it should look like I'm moving at fucking rocket speed, even if it feels slow for me. But other than that, I got really motivated. That's kind of what I want to transition to about what I want to talk about. But it was really, really good to run into a homie while I was here, a guy I met a couple months ago while I was visiting Alabama. And I got to talking with him, and man was saying that he just got broken up with, a 2-year-long relationship. And I'm like, I can't even imagine, you gotta, like, looking at it from my perspective, I've been dating the same girl for over 4.5 years now, since my junior year of high school. And we've never, we had a really, really, really bad time for about a year, and then we got our shit together, got really mature really quick, and ever since it's just been a who can love each other more type of situation. Not trying to brag, but kind of am. But regardless of that, I think about that type of shit, and I'm like, I can't imagine what he has to go through. Me and my girlfriend almost gone to the break one time during our whole 4.5+ years of dating, and we spent about 12 hours apart, and I cried the full 12 hours. It felt like somebody had died, legitimately, because I've experienced death in close ones in my life. I've seen people die to drugs, and I'm not trying to compare anything, of course. Like, everything's different. I would never compare one life to another, but it genuinely felt like I had lost a part of myself. And I was like, fuck, that's where I knew I needed to, instead of push her away, fight back and get my shit together, And so again, the idea of any relationship breaking off like that, it sucks. And rather than focusing on the trauma or the hardship that one goes through during a breakup, I want to really emphasize what I talked to this guy about. You can really only tackle so much yourself in life. There's a really unfortunate thing that happens a lot where people will experience a really hard point in their life, whether it's with relationships, jobs, passion, just whatever's not working out for you. And you will, instead of accepting support and help from your loved ones or your friends around you, you will inadvertently, kind of involuntarily push people away in an attempt to reclaim your life, with the idea of like, I don't know. I feel like it comes from a big part of individualism where people will want to just do everything they can to get it back on track, but refuse help because, a lot of people may blame themselves for the position that they got themselves into. The guy I was talking to literally told me that he was like acting like he regretted moving to Alabama because he was like, oh man, but I moved here to be with her. And I was like, well, don't regret that. Ever since I've met you, you've made the most of your situation and like you've done well here. And you've put in the work, so give yourself the fucking credit, You can't just go through life putting one step in front of the other, even if it's from a mindset of I just got to keep moving and doing better. You got to at least give yourself that little bit of credit so that you can actually enjoy those steps that you're taking, to better yourself. Like, why push and thrive to do so much better and remain so passionate if you're not going to be able to find your own acceptance of the effort that you're putting in? I don't know if that sounds a little convoluted, but all I'm really trying to say is you got to surround yourself with a positive environment that's going to actually uplift you. It's not saying that you need to depend on other people to evolve this form of passion in your life, but you can only take on so much stress, especially mental, on your own. It's very, very important to recognize how delicate humans really are. It's not a matter of, a lot of people are grown up with the mindset of just like, oh, I just gotta get over it. This is life. I'll move on. It'll be fine. And then a lot of people say time heals all wounds. And I'm like, in a very broad sense, sure. But it's not the time that heals you. It's the effort and the passion that you put in during that time that you have to recover. It's about how you choose to spend that time. Because you could waste a fucking decade worrying about the wrong shit and then get everything figured out right at the end. And of course, it's awesome that you can pick yourself up after the end of all that, but like, the only thing holding you back from progressing is yourself. It's your own mindset and your lack of support in your life. We were talking about being in the gym for hours and hours and hours at a time, and like, we're not gym rats or nothing, but god damn it, we just love being there. It's not just about the fucking weights or trying to show off or any of all this other shit. It's being around like-minded individuals that just want to be supported, that just want to spread a little bit of positivity to uplift each other. Like, why the fuck not? Like, if I wanted the gym to be a job, every one of these videos would be in my fucking garage. But that's boring. What's the point? Like, I will always try to lift weights for myself, and I will always, like, I would like to imagine that in a world where gyms didn't exist, I would still be doing it. But man, you gotta have a bit of external positivity in your life. A good friend of mine told me that although you may know exactly what you need to do to better yourself, to get over some trauma, to get over some hardships, and you know you've been through this before, it's just life, and you know exactly what you got to do, you still need to depend on other people to the extent that allows you to heal. And again, it's not. Oh, Jesus, I'm getting a little flabbergasted. Sorry, but it's more so the idea that there are people who either ask for too much help or people who don't ask for enough. And you don't want to be either. You want to be that guy right in the middle that is just getting the help that's literally sitting in front of them. Like I got a family member who's caused a lot of issues in the past some years, and every time it gets to the shit and they open up and they're like, oh, I'm going to get better, all this and this and this. I'm sitting here and I'm like, dude, I will support you all the way. I'm past grudges. I'm past hate. I don't hate you or blame. It's not about, and again, even if it's someone's fault, I don't look at blame or whatever because like, why focus on blame, you know, when you can just focus on how are we going to do better to move on? Because it's either cut the person out of your life altogether, but if you got hope for that person, you want that person in your life, then you got to move on. You know, you got to come together in a positive way. Blaming people is just going to cause for negative reactions, and every time a human is blamed, that initial irrational emotional response is to throw up the defensive walls and be like, well, hold on, like I didn't do what, you know, and then it becomes a game of who does more or who does worse, you know, and that shit does not fucking matter. What matters is how are we going to come together and uplift each other? You know, how are we going to do better than the person that we were yesterday? So when people say time heals all wounds, I like to look at it more of, you could say that, you know, you could say that, but I think it's more healthy to look at the view of what can you do right now without wasting any time, without just waiting for the clock to tick, that you know will make you better. Because I'll tell you now, I've seen a psychologist talk about this before. Go stare at a wall for an hour straight without doing anything. I promise you, most times you will come out of that shit like thinking about all the things you'd rather be doing right now that you know would make you happier. And it gets so convoluted sometimes because people think that because they're going through some shit or they don't have things as stable as other people do in their social circle, that they need to be working with more obligation and they need to stop having fun and they need to focus more on what's necessary rather than what will actually uplift them. You know, of course there's obligations that have to be met when it comes to your life, whether it's your biological needs or if you have a family, that type of stuff. But beyond that, like, why would you, like, just, I hate that people make the rest of their lives obligational. Beyond those obligational and familial needs, your own individual personal life should just be a time of enjoyment, a time of passion. At least that's the way I see it. So, like I told my homie today, I was like, look, I'm not here trying to preach my words to you or whatever. I genuinely just want to give an ounce of positivity because that might turn you around. And I'll tell you what, if you give anybody a compliment when they're at the gym, lifting as hard as they can, 9 times out of 10, they're going to start smiling like they can't fucking stop. You know, not because they see you as this awesome fucking whatever person. It's just people need that little bit of love. We don't get enough of it after we get out of our childhood, you know? Most of our love and support during childhood comes from our parents. And, you know, I fucking hate that a lot of times that doesn't happen. And so you get to adulthood and you're on your own. It's up to you to make that culture of positivity in your direct vicinity, you know? Whatever you interact with in the day, put yourself in a goddamn situation that you know will make you better. Because everybody knows what's going to make them happier. Everybody does. They're just not willing to admit that they're allowed to do it. You know, they don't give themselves the credit to actually go and do it. because they're too busy comparing themselves to the success of what is thought to what they are supposed to do by other people who have more material goods than them. You know, when it comes to the dollar sign, whether it comes to the view count, whatever. We got to get our individual lives in check and then at the same time, while holding yourself together, allowing yourself to intake that support and help from others that are willing to give it to you. Not for the sake of obligation, not for the sake of that's just how they were raised, but because they genuinely just want to see you do better. So, take it with a grain of salt. I didn't mean to get all philosophical on you guys, but I love talking about this shit. You know, I just like spouting about this because I think it's important that people hear how, it can be very reassuring to hear that you are allowed to go have fun. You know, even if you feel like you don't deserve it today, you got to make it to where you deserve it. You know, I'm at the gym every day. I'm doing these videos every day. I'm doing school every day. And I'm not doing all these things because I feel obligated to or feel like I have to in order to have fun in my life. I put the passion into these things that my life was presented with because, this is the life we were given. So you can either A, treat what you were given, the situation you're in, with obligation, or B, take it, put as much fucking passion in it as you can. Because I don't care what you say. You can make anything passionate. It's just a mindset. So, and I guess, to me, the best way to get that passion rolling, no matter what you're doing, is surround yourself with those people in your daily life that you know are going to uplift you. You just haven't given yourself the chance to be uplifted. So, that's all I got. I appreciate you guys sticking around. Let me know how the lifts have been going. I love hearing about it. And I will be back here tomorrow with some snatches and some benches. So, let's keep the block going. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.